G'day mates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the heats list that got officially announced today for the FNCS semifinals, and specifically why Letshe, Aqua, and CRR will not be playing, why they were disqualified from playing in the heats. And then I also want to break down the first 2 rounds of the Reverse2k Squad Cup that happened today. It was super exciting, and what to look forward to for round 3 tomorrow. Also guys, just a quick reminder, I stream all of these tournaments live at my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Aussie Antics. And even though I'm doing daily uploads, if you want a bunch of other content like shorts, stream highlights, and just content on other games like Apex Legends, check out my second YouTube channel. It's Extra Antics. The link will be in the description down below. Thank you so much. Let's just jump straight in and break down exactly what's going on in EU and why so many of the big teams were disqualified and aren't going to be able to participate in heats or semifinals despite qualifying. So let's start off talking about CRR's team. So CRR, Aqua, and Venos are not going to be able to play in FNCS semifinals because Venos' account has been banned because it was found that he bought the account. But this is where it gets interesting. Venos bought this account presumably just to get skins, but he did it 2 years ago. 2 years ago, and Epic is banning it now. And because they're banning it, they're not only banning the account, they're striking his qualification into the semifinals based on that account being banned. So he can't just make a new account and play in FNCS heats. Aqua, CRR, and Venos will 100% not be participating in heats because of this. This is interesting because he can now make another account and play in any other tournament he wants. He's not banned from playing tournaments, just that account is banned for violating terms of service. Venos actually tweeted out a screenshot of the email that he got, so let's break it down. It said, "Hello Venos, I am reaching out to let you know that your account has been disabled due to violating our terms of service. Over the weekend, there was some back and forth on this during the competition you were participating in. So Epic considered not doing this because heats were on." But then they go on to say, "After further investigating the issue over the past few days, we have determined that you are not the original owner of the account you are playing on, and it was shared or sold in the past. This specifically violates our terms of service, and thus we have disabled your account from this point forward." So Epic has acknowledged that by doing this, they know that Venos, Aqua, and CRR are not going to be able to play in heats. So this has been a very deliberate move from them. They've made a statement out of them. I was just talking in yesterday's video about how Epic is cracking down on how pros behave and whether they break terms of service. Epic has decided to deliberately do this knowing they can't play heats, and I almost want to go as far to say as deliberately waiting until now. I don't know whether they've been waiting, let's say, weeks or months or years to do this, but Venos played in the last FNCS Grand Finals and they didn't do anything, and Venos specifically stated in a tweet that he bought this account over 2 years ago. So they've waited until now. So unfortunately, as a result, because Venos has now been disqualified, that means that CRR and Aqua's qualification is void. It is not valid. They can't find other teammates. They can't make teams split and play with them because the person they played with to get into semifinals has been disabled. It means that their qualification did not count. So Aqua has obviously taken this pretty poorly because this is going to be like the 3rd FNCS now, I think, that Aqua's missing, and a lot of those reasons aren't his own fault. He even tweeted out, "I'm just cursed." CRR obviously not happy about this either. I don't blame either of them. They've played with a teammate and that's it. Now they don't get to play. CRR tweeted out, "I only play this game for FNCSs. That's why I legit don't care about PR or CCs anymore, cash cups, and this season is just wasted." He said, "I'm so unlucky, man. Last season teammate quits and then I still qual grands with a new trio, and now this season my teammate's account gets locked so I can't play heats. So much for being 1 out of 9 or whatever who made the most FNCS grands in EU." I mean, it's super unfortunate. A lot of you guys on stream today were asking my opinion on this. I think it's good that Epic is taking a stance against pros breaking terms of service. The things that pros get away with on Fortnite just wouldn't fly on any other game. And as Epic gears up more and more towards becoming a more legitimate esport, they need to crack down on these things. But situations like this, I feel like maybe after FNCS, but like I said with the click situation, if pros don't get consequences, they don't learn, warnings don't really go far enough. So I'm interested to hear your guys' opinion. Do you think this is fair, or do you think the timing is super unfortunate? I think if maybe it just punished Veno, I'd be more okay with it, because he did willingly break terms of service and bought an account. I know buying an account doesn't really hurt anyone, but Epic wanted to cut this down because there are a whole bunch of issues when you start allowing buying and selling accounts, especially in a game that's dominated predominantly by children. There's a lot of concerns about people being scammed or people spending money that isn't their own money, like their parents. But I think having CRR and Aqua be punished for this as well is where I kind of get a little bit more upset about it. Now, moving on to the situation with Letshe, and now this one's a lot more interesting. So, Letshe's team is also not on the list of teams participating in the heats or participating in the semifinals, but I believe this to be potentially a mistake or maybe a misunderstanding. Letshe or any of his teammates have made no statements on this situation, so I don't think it's as clear-cut as what happened to Veno. So, Letshe has reported recently that his main account has been blocked and locked and he can't log into it, and he's had to make a second account so he's able to play in the console FNCS tournaments that are taking place over the next few days. So it would make sense that if Letshe is locked out of his account, potentially that has like flagged on an automatic system with Epic. It's taken them off the series point leaderboard, so when they filled the heats with the top 99 teams, Letshe's team isn't there. But based on the fact that Letshe and his teammates, none of them have made a statement, makes me think that this is not warranted. I believe what's happened, and this is 100% my theory, it could be completely different, but I believe Letshe has most recently boot camped, and I know a lot of players boot camp, they go overseas, they play in different areas, and they come back and they have no issues. But we've seen pros and players in the past fall into issues where their account gets locked when other people try to log onto it from different IP addresses, or when Epic believes their account's being hacked. So it might not be because of the boot camp, but I believe Letshe's account has been locked, or it's deemed to be disabled, even though it's not for any reason of cheating or sharing accounts or any of that kind of information. I believe it's been locked for a different reason, and because of that, Letshe's team is just automatically not being on the heats list, and I hope they've reached out to Epic to get it fixed. If Letshe's team made a statement or Letshe tweeted out something about it, I wouldn't be saying this, but because we've heard absolutely nothing, I have to think it's a mistake and Letshe's getting it sorted behind closed doors, and that leads me to my next point. I'm not going to be breaking down the heats today in today's video. Heats aren't going to be for over a week more. They're not this weekend, they're next weekend, and because of things like this, the heats list could change in a minute. If Letshe's team is found to be in the actual heats and they put them in, that's going to shuffle all the names around, it's going to move all the players, and like that happened to me last FNCS, I'm going to have made an entire 30-minute video breaking down heats and drop spots that are completely useless a day later. So I'm not going to be talking about EU or NA East heats right now, because something could just as easily happen on NA East. A player could split, a player could be banned, and then all of a sudden it changes. At this point though, the main talking point out of the heats is that in NA East Heat 2, we do have Clicks going up against Gabe, Tahi, and Sprite at Sweaty Sands. If no one gets disqualified in NA East, if the heats don't change, that is going to be a bombshell to look out for. But again, I'm going to properly break down the heats in a few days once all of this settles, so I can make a proper video with drop spots, and no, it's not going to be irrelevant 2 days later when Epic changes it. Moving on to the Reverse2k Squad Cup. This was a cup that was so much fun to watch. I'm still holding on to the fact that Squads is my least favorite game mode, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but watching the one-soft tournament, or a couple of tournaments because there's 3 rounds to it, it was really fun. I'm not gonna lie, the change of pace, the change of scenery, seeing a bunch of different teams form with different players, and seeing how a lot of solos fit into established trios was super, super interesting, because a lot of the teams you'd expect to do quite well, and a lot of the really dominant trios right now, when you tag on a 4th, did really well, but there was some big kind of dark horses and some interesting names that popped up and had fantastic games. I mean, round 1, we saw EU come out of the gate really strong to kick it off. We saw Mr. Savage, Anas, Refscard, and Andretta win round 1. So EU won round 1 of the NA East tourney, and it all kicked off with their ridiculous game 1 getting a 56 elim victorial. At the start of the tournament, I was saying, look, it's squads. Even bad squads could usually maybe like take down one player out of a good squad, which will slow them down. There's no mobility, blah, blah, blah. Aussie, you're an idiot, because ended up seeing squads drop 50 bombs. They weren't the only one. Don't worry, NA East clapped back a little bit, just a little bit less. We did see Bucky, Ages, Kanata, and Macwood get a 51 elim victorial in their first game as well. But round 1 was pretty exciting. It was top 250 teams to go through, and I was genuinely surprised at how difficult it was. There was some good teams that missed out and a lot of teams that came really close. Unfortunately, Nick Merck's team being one of them, they didn't make it out of round one. They came really close and it was in their last game they got a super laggy server. And that's what I want to talk about. A lot of the Squads Cup had this issue, and it's an issue we've seen before where the tournament servers are just super laggy. But it wasn't every game. It wasn't every game of the tournament. It was a coin flip. I would watch one game be at the exact same zone, pretty much the exact same amount of players, completely perfectly fine, and I'd even be watching an EU player who's already on 100 ping and it looked great and it felt great. Then I would go and watch another team on the exact same part of zone, same amount of players, everything, and it was like they were on 500 ping. They're rubber banding, they're stuck in one spot, players are teleporting through walls. It made no sense. Ask anyone who played it. It wasn't the whole tournament. You just somehow get in tournament servers that felt absolutely terrible and some that felt not perfect, but way better. And we're still seeing this issue. Now, not only do you have RNG when you drop, you have RNG on every other level, you now have RNG on just whether you get good servers or not. And I know what you're thinking, everyone's playing on the bad server in that game, and I get that, but it means that getting zoned, for example, half is just 10 times more valuable than a normal server. If you didn't get half in one of these laggy servers, like Nick Merck's team didn't get in their last game, your chance of making the rotate was so much lower because you literally couldn't move. You were just stuck in place, walking backwards and forwards. So a few teams missed out because of that, unfortunately. But if we jumped into round two was super exciting. And again, the threshold to qualify was really high. Only top 24 teams, 188 points. And there was some big names. We saw Jampa, Threats, Avery, and Rise. The team that I would like to say yesterday in my video, I did say was going to absolutely pop off. They got 281 points, taking out the top spot by almost 40 points. Sorry, over 40 points. My math is off here. Look at their placements. Look at this match history. 9 elim third, 13 elim third, 17 elim win, 16 elim win, 18 elim win, 6 elim second, and 16 elim win. How are you about to average almost 14 kills and have an average placement of 1.7 in a Squads Cup? They were so insanely consistent. They have to be one of the favorites going into the games tomorrow. But this is the story of how mostly the tournament went. You pretty much had all the top tier trios just finding a fourth to stick with them, and they're the ones who popped off the most. It's all the names you'd expect. It was Censored Edgy Commandments trio with Stretch that came in second. You had Niddle, Mikey, Casca, and Smack that came in third. You had the French-Canadian team of Nobu Beef, Loopy, and Nick, and then they tagged on Fop, come in fourth. You had Gabe Tahi and Sprite with Zunies come in fifth. You see where I'm going. Coming into tomorrow, a lot of the teams have talked about their drop spots. I was gonna maybe try to make a drop spot map, but it was too hard. There was way too many teams that didn't mention their drop spots or didn't say where they're going. The main one that I have an eye on though coming into tomorrow is Sweaty Sands. We managed to have Gabe Tahi, Sprite, and Zunies going up against Tayson's team. Tayson's team did manage to qualify, so Tayson, Nate, Forzia, and iDrop will be dropping at Sweaty Sands against Gabe Tahi, Sprite, and Zunies unless something changes. Outside of that, it's hard to break down the specific drop spots of who's going to contest who. Most of the big names, I believe, should be getting their drops uncontested. I think Reverse2k, Day, Miro, and Clicks will be getting dirty docks themselves. I think Commandment, Centered, Edgy, and Stretch do have Misty Meadows as well. After that, though, it becomes a lot more questionable. I'm not entirely sure where people are going, but I guess we're gonna see. If you guys want to see how the round 3 breaks down, make sure you check out my Twitch channel again. It's twitch.tv/Aussie Antics. I'll be live doing a viewing party. We'll have a bingo board going for gifted subs, doing predictions, having a whole bunch of fun. That will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or 7 a.m. Sydney time, my time. I know not a lot of you guys are Australian, but yeah, swing by. I'd really appreciate it. It's going to be a super fun tournament to see how it finishes. And yeah, that does it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please chuck a like on it. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on anything I've talked about today. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.